I grew up watching Ren and Stimpy. It was my favorite show as a kid. Always coming home from school, plopping on the couch and being so excited to see what funny shenanigans they'd get into today. But there was always something about Ren that, well, if I'm being honest, scared the living hell out of me. He never seemed like the other cartoon characters, saying things like, "I'm going to rip your arms right out of their sockets," or "I'm going to gouge your eyes out," while the other characters would be shivering in the corner saying things like, "You're scaring us, Ren," as if they didn't understand what was going on. He seemed disconnected from them, almost like he was put in a kids' TV show full of cartoon characters and sweet, happy thoughts. But he had a mind of his own. I mean, was he one of those broken cartoon characters people talk about? Was he the only one that knew he was in a kids' show? I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much into it. Now that I'm older, he doesn't so much as scare me as he does interest me. I just want to figure out why this character is so much different from the others. So the other day I randomly thought about the show, so I decided to pull up an episode for old time's sake. The first thing I noticed was the name was no longer Ren and Stimpy, just Stimpy and Friends. I guess it's been so long since I've watched the show I didn't even realize the name had been changed. So I click on the newest episode, Ren Returns. I watched for a few minutes, but I started to wonder, where's Ren? The only character I see is Stimpy, sitting down on the side of the bed. I decided to wait for a few more minutes to see if Ren would finally come into the shot, but he never did. So I keep thinking, why would the episode be called Ren Returns? Suddenly I hear Stimpy starting to cry. He's mumbling, but I can't make out what he's saying. He turns around and his face and eyes look weirdly human and realistic, which every now and then that would happen in the show. A scene where they look real and detailed, but this was just plain different. They were all swollen like he'd been crying for hours. His eyes were puffy and pink. These purple bags drooped down so far it was just flat out disturbing. He starts saying, "Why, Ren? Why'd you decide to leave me again? I miss you, Ren. It gets harder every time you leave. Please come back home." Man, this show's darker than I remember. Stimpy oddly shouts, "Ren, you're home," and runs over to a random corner. But I don't see Ren. All of a sudden, shelves start crashing down by themselves. "Calm down, Ren. You're scaring me." "What do you mean?" "Yes, you are," Stimpy says. Why does he keep acting like he's talking to Ren? Things are flying around the room and shattering, and I notice small blood drops appearing on the floor as though someone had been cut. I couldn't stand watching anymore. I decided to watch episodes leading up to this episode to figure out why Ren isn't in the current one. I click on the episode right before this and start watching. I notice again, no Ren. I quickly start fast-forwarding, clicking on other episodes, panicking as I go through each one as fast as I can, hoping to see Ren, but he never shows up. I slam my laptop closed in frustration, not being able to comprehend what I just witnessed. I should have never went back to this stupid show. My head is killing me. I went to bed, and when I woke up, I had thought maybe it was all just a dream. I opened my laptop, and there it was, that same damn episode. Of course, I thought to myself. Later that day, I go out to dinner with some friends and tell them what I had went through the previous night. They have been friends with me since elementary school, so I knew they'd understand how strange this is because we'd all watch it together during slumber parties. But to my surprise, they all laughed and looked at me confused. The show was never called Ren and Stimpy, and there was never a character called Ren. All of them agreed. I told them they were out of their minds and started to Google the show and the character. I started to panic when I realized there's no sign of Ren anywhere. Not in the title, not anywhere. I could not find one picture of Ren. They acted like I was insane, so I went to pull up the episode from last night to prove it to them. It was gone. The website I had found it on previously did not exist. I absolutely had given up at that point and left the restaurant without saying a word. As I pull into my driveway, I'm absolutely exhausted and my brain is worn out. I cannot stop thinking about what all has happened. I walk into my room. As I'm getting into bed, I hear what sounds like someone in the living room. I quickly grab my baseball bat from the closet and begin to carefully walk downstairs. I see nothing. I shrug it off as my mind playing tricks on me and head to bed once again. I had a lot on my mind, so I put on some music to clear my mind, and I fall asleep quickly. I wake up to the feeling of someone watching me. Once my eyes adjust to the dark, I see someone standing at the end of my bed. As my vision's clear, I notice it's Ren, but not cartoon Ren. He looks real, almost like an old man mixed with a hairless dog. His skin is wrinkled with moles covering his whole body, yellow teeth protruding out of his mouth. He has this smile that I swear I'll never be able to get out of my head. His eyes are dark and soulless. He's got to be at least 7 feet tall. I vomit out of fear. I scream and try to run, but I look down and notice my arms and legs are tied to the bed. He walks towards me. I've been trapped for so long. I've been looking for someone like you forever, and now I finally got you. I scream, no, it's the only thing I could mutter, considering it feels like my lungs are about to explode from breathing so heavy. He places his hand over my mouth. I understand the position you're in. It happens to all of us. But luckily now, my turn is over. You're next. He reaches to the back of his head, pulling out what I assume is some kind of zipper. He starts pulling it down to unzip what looks like a bodysuit, wriggling out of it like he's a snake, shedding out of his skin. Ren skin drops to the floor, sounding like what you can imagine, a pile of skin sounding like hitting a floor. He has no skin now, every single one of his muscles exposed to the air. I vomit once again at the sight. What's wrong? Did you like the skin? Don't worry, it'll be yours soon. He starts shifting towards me, looking like a full-on walking human anatomy. He puts his hands on me. I try to fight, but he's too strong. I'm screaming as I feel the feeling of his open muscles on my body. He starts ripping off my flesh, tearing at my skin as I yell out in agonizing pain. Please, whoever you are, just kill me. I can't take this. He smiles. I can't kill you. You have to take my place. I pass out from the pain. When I wake up, I'm in what looks like a different house. Ren, you're home. I back up into the corner as I see Stimpy running towards me. What? What is going on? I panic and scream due to frustration as I rip shells off walls. Calm down, Ren. You're scaring me. I'm not Ren. What do you mean? Yes, you are. Ugh! I yell out, throwing vases and ceramic things at the ground. I accidentally step on a piece of broken glass, leaving a trail of blood behind me as I step back, and I realize this is the episode I was watching. I am Ren. I look at my hands and see that disgusting, human-like skin suit that monster took off his body. It's on me now. This all happened 6 years ago. I no longer question why Ren was so different compared to the other characters. He just couldn't get out, like me. Maybe one day I will, but for now I'm still here, stuck in the show waiting for the next person I can find to take my place. So, let me ask you, do you remember a show called Ren and Stimpy? If the answer is yes, congratulations, you're next.